Howdy. So today's guest is a company called ForLogistic. It's a marketplace for short-term rental and warehouse space. The easiest way to introduce their idea is to compare it to Booking or Airbnb for the warehouses. And their promise is to help entrepreneurs working with any type of goods to find safe, short-term space without losing time for negotiations. If you don't know this, the warehouse property has become a hot bun in the global real estate bakery, and ForLogistic startup is actually cooking a marketplace for smooth interaction between landlords and tenants. For small warehouse spaces, ForLogistic offers most probably a cheaper alternative to regular real estate agencies or for direct interaction with dozens and dozens of landlords on the internet. Watch the podcast to find out if they want to focus only and only on short-term rental of small warehouse spaces. You will enjoy it. Bye-bye. Hello, my name is Alexander Morari, and I'm the founder of ITKeyMedia. You've tuned into our podcast about Central and Eastern European startups that are in pre-series A stage. And our guest today is Andrzej Rudko, the co-founder of ForLogistic, a marketplace for short-term rental of warehouse space. Hello, Andrzej.
Hello, nice to meet you. I'm happy to be here.
Yes, great. Same here, and even more so, that it seems to be one of those podcasts that I'm hosting, where I'm finally qualified to basically discuss the topic of the podcast and of the project of the startup, as this is real estate related and prop tech related, and I'm recently joining. I've recently joined Royal Institution of Chartered Surveyors as a member myself. So I guess we'll have a industry talk or shop talk, or should I say shed talk during this podcast.
Yes.
So let me just, as an introduction to your why your project was born. Basically, it was born, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, as a result of recent tectonic changes in the real estate industry and real estate sectors all around the world. Of course, as an outcome or one of the results of the pandemic situation and so on. Whereas, of all commercial real estate, warehouse logistics is probably the pet real estate asset type, basically all around the world, getting from hot to hotter market spaces, you could say. And that's why I understand ForLogistic was born, just to ride the wave of increased popularity and demand for warehouse space. Is that so?
We have seen with my business partner that there is many cases where there are some kind of landlords that are having some objects. They don't know how to let's say make the correct marketing, let's call it correct ads for these objects. And on the other hand, because of that, they are not used space, they're only losing because of that fact. And on the other hand, there are people that are trying some kind of entrepreneurship, yes, with goods, and they're trying to look for some space that would be kind of flexible, that you can try to rent it for a short period of time. You are not obligated to sign the agreement for 5, 3, or even 15 years. Yes, there are some cases like that. So yes, and mostly when some kind of interested clients were asking us for this kind of space, it was hard to find a solution for them, because at the same time you need to call for 10 or even hundreds of ads from the internet, yes, trying to look for some kind of exact space that you need. And by the end, you are mostly contacting with some kind of agencies, some landlords, owners that were totally not prepared for that kind of need from the market. So yes, because of that, we couldn't before connect them. We decided to start the project that could be a kind of marketplace connecting both sides. So our solution is going in that way that they can, in automatic way, finalize the transaction, and they are totally free as to just start cooperation from the next day.
And just to make sure everybody understands, we are now talking about warehouse specifically.
Yes,
Warehouse space only, yeah. And you're focusing on small units as well, right? Not like huge areas. For now, from what I understand, you are basing your business on short-term rental of smaller units, so-called SBUs,
yes.
small business units. Is that so?
So that's correct. I will underline one fact that we are not a kind of solution that is kind of a self-storage option. We are only concentrating on business to business solution. So mainly we are working starting from 100 square meters up to 15,000. There is no limit. So mostly it's about that when you have some kind of bigger warehouse, let's say 10,000 meters, you can divide it for some smaller parts, yes, using some easy options. So you can divide it, let's say, for 1,000 units, and it's no problem, yes, to share it on our platform.
Okay, and now where's the business for landlords? Let's say if you say there is no minimum or maximum kind of cap on the warehouse property to rent, then tell me, do you rent out this space yourself, or you're the marketplace in between the landlord and potential tenant? And what you add is the flexibility, and I understand also the speed of the process. And then you get the money, and you get the fee from the landlord or the potential client, or both.
So that's the point, that we are marketplace. So we are connecting both sides. That's our business profile. And yes, what's important, we are making the process as easy as we can for the landlord, and on the other hand, as easy as we can for the client at the end. So yes, we are mostly connecting. Of course, it's a small point in our strategy that in the future probably there will be our warehouses, yes, that will be also on our platform.
How do you deal with the KYC kind of side of the business? Who takes the responsibility for eventual rent or lease payments by the tenants?
Sure, I will explain that. So, of course, KYC is in the same way very important fact for us, because from the beginning we even, I would say, couldn't avoid that fact because we were checked very carefully by our payment operator, which is MangoPay. So MangoPay is working for all European region. They checked us carefully, and our connection, how to say that, our technical connection, yes, by the IT connecting with API, is making that every client that is registering on our platform from the beginning is in KYC process. So later on, where let's say the landlord is ready to receive the money, he needs to show all the papers that he is the correct owner of this warehouse, and then he's receiving the money. On the other hand, about the risks, yes, because we know that market very, very well. It's in that way that, of course, both sides are obligated to be to have an insurance. And on the one hand, it's insurance for the landlord. This warehouse should be under the insurance. And on the other hand, the goods, because of the transport, because of the fact that that's your core of your business, you should have insurance also for that fact. So both sides are kind of, let's say, totally safe on our platform. And on the other hand, of course, we are planning to add the rating for each of sites.
Rating, your own rating, or using what, the environmental kind of ratings, or What this rating will be
Mostly,
about?
of course, it will be mostly made by the users on the platform. Yes, so from one side, owner landlord, yes, is picking the stars for the client, and the client is picking the stars for the second side.
Okay. It's like the Uber kind of approach, or Airbnb, where both sides of the marketplace are evaluating each other for, like with stars and so on. Okay. So it's
Exactly.
subjective opinion about objective situations in the exchange. Okay.
Yes, of course,
As,
with some comments, and that will add us some, let's say, option to control that we can see that, yes, the landlord, or on the other hand, the client is trustworthy. That's the most important.
How will you motivate such opinion-based kind of evaluation of both sides of the business on your marketplace in a B2B context? I completely understand now, and we are now like used to this in a B2C, or let's say C2C, let's say, or where there is at least one like C part, right? And then in a B2B context, have you had such opinions already? And if yes, who expresses the opinion? An officer of a company, or company profile which is not related to a specific person? How is this dealt with?
Okay, yes, so mostly it's about that of course there is some kind of big person from the company that is using the profile. So of course this person is responsible from on the one hand to respond when there is when someone is asking for renting the space, and on the other hand, in the same way, of course, we are working on that rating. So I think yes, it's even easier, I would say, by B2B option, because I think it's more transparent. Yes, when it's a kind of B2C business, you can see that let's say the second site could be much more anonymous. Yes, by the end of the day. So here, I think every site needs to be very responsible for that what they are writing.
Yeah, okay, I see your point. Andrzej, as a side note, by the way, why did you choose MangoPay as your payment operator and not some other like more like known maybe, or more, let's say, established, recognized?
Well,
At least for me, this is a new name basically in this space.
Yeah, so it was mostly about that we were looking in some solutions in Poland about this kind of providers, but it was hard to find a correct institution that would be providing us the split payment. It's quite important for our business model, as we are in the middle, as we are kind of marketplace. We are looking for a solution that was by the end of the day really specialized on this kind of platforms. Yes, so MangoPay is kind of course, I would say as a code, yes, that it's kind of bank that is giving you sub accounts. You're receiving the e-wallet, and it's from the beginning till the end. It's on your e-wallet as a user or as a company. It doesn't matter. And what's important, from the beginning, they're using the split payment. So when it's in that way that we are receiving our commission, yes, by the end of the day, it's in that way that when a client is making the payment, from the beginning, it's divided. So landlord is receiving his part and we are receiving our part. So that was the thing that we were looking for, and we couldn't find it in Polish market. So, and on the other hand, it was very important for us later on when we will be reaching some other markets. Yes, because right now we are prepared, to jump on every market, even not only in Europe.
Yeah. And just to finish this topic off, so MangoPay cleared, but then have you considered Stripe, PayPal, Amazon Pay? I don't know, all those like people, or Google Google Pay or similar. Have you considered those? And do you still recommend Mango Pay for marketplaces like yours, but in other verticals, let's say, or in other sectors? Have they proven to be good partners in this?
Yes, I need to say that the whole process was it took some time. I need to be honest, but I kind of happy with that because of that we can feel at the end really safe about cooperating. On the other hand, what's important about other solutions, yes, let's say like PayPal or other companies, they're not very expensive. So that's, let's say, easy answer for me. Yeah, so that was the kind of main fact. And on the other hand, as I mentioned, it's very hard to find a solution that from the beginning is using the split payment. Let's say about our accounting. Yes, it would be very complicated to cooperate with some other solution from the market. Even we were trying to cooperate with some Polish company, but we couldn't find a solution, about giving the invoices in correct way.
Yeah, clear. And already ready for your future scaling up international as well, right? I now take this information from Mango Pay pricing page, and so they say for Visa or Mastercard, it's around 1.8% of every transaction plus 18 euro cents, and that's in euro cents, and more expensively in pounds and other currencies for Visa, Mastercard. Yeah, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I would say it's quite normal price, and on the other hand, we probably by the end of the day we are expecting that most of our clients will be using the transfers. Of course, we are ready for every option. This is one fact that we are happy about the cooperation, because we can use cards, we can use even it's in that way that right now Mango Pay is prepared for that we can use some other Polish provider. And
like Przeleva 24, yeah.
Yes, and they will be kind of main operator in that. So still they will be working for us as this solution of split payment.
Okay, let me share this screen and jump at the beta version of your app right now, and maybe check out a couple of pages there. Okay. Okay, Andrzej, so this is the beta version of the app, which is public right now. So if I navigate it like the first time on the space, what I can see is the map of Poland. Of course, exactly. On the right side, you have those search criteria, okay? And I understand, so this is the English version, yes. So I understand these are live offers right now, right? That are available on yes. the website.
That's correct.
And that's the web version. Do you have a mobile app as well, or you plan this somewhere down the road?
Our website is working in the same way on the mobile option, but on the other hand, just lately we started to work on in the same moment in the specialized app for the Android, and on the other hand for the iOS mobile phones. So yes.
What can I say? It's pretty straightforward, basically. So your clients usually would know what they look for in a warehouse space. So you said there are no limits, potentially, right? No limits as far as the space and the area to rent. What's the current maximum space you have available on the app, by the way? Current maximum.
It's even hard to say, because
you don't
right
know.
Now during class days, yes, during class days we are adding a lot of ads. What's important, yes, about the safetiness, it's in that way that each of ad we are accepting on the admin profile. So we are checking each of the warehouses when it's being added to our platform. So yes, what's important right here, you can click any kind of the object, you can move to details about the subject, It's in that way that you can find on our platform warehouses that are mostly concentrated on square meters.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, you can pick from the pallets. This pallet solution, of course, it's including that you can add how many pallets are arriving, later on how much of them are going out. And yes, thanks that you can pick every option which is needed for you by the end of the day for the whole logistic process.
Yeah,
Yes,
and just to
going
take this
back to
as a case study, to take this as a case study, I understand. So what do we consider here? Street location price per day. In this case, that's a brutto, okay, and that's for 650 square meters. I understand, right?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, and the Mango Pay is there as well. So I understand the approach is if I'm a tenant looking for such space and I don't have the time to call, to call all those phones from the ads online and so on. I come here, I check availability. I understand. I register and log in, right, where you do the KYC automatically, and then I can rent this space automatically. Okay, what happens next after, let's say, the formalities are done? So I pay in advance, I guess.
Yes, you can click it right now. You can try to check the availability. Yes. Yes, and here we can see that yes, to rent it later. So here, it's better not to click right now. But when you are interested, for example, to rent today, yes, for just one day, you can pick that option. It will cost you this 1,200 Polish zloty. And what's very important, you need to add the description that when you are interested in, let's say, keeping the wood or the batteries or any other kind of goods, you should add the description. Of course, it's about that landlord should be informed what kind of goods you are going to keep there. So yes, and later on, it's in that way that when you are clicking this rent now option, the landlord is receiving the notification, and by that moment he can check his calendar. Of course, what I mean in that moment that when it's available here, he can later move on his some kind of own calendars, check if it's correct. If it's correct, he can, of course, he's checking this type of goods. If there is another problem that, let's say, there will be some food would be stored with, as I mentioned, batteries, yes, someone could not accept that. And after accepting this kind of proposal from the client side, client is moved to the payment.
Okay.
During that process, of course, the client is accepting all the terms or the privacy policy. The terms already are with our kind of a draft of agreement. So during the login process, both sides are accepting those rules. And by the end, yes, and later when someone would pay for the interesting part of time, there is automatically filled agreement. Both sides are receiving that agreement, and from the next day you can use the space.
Cool. Okay, I understand. So anyways, it's as automatic as it's possible, but there is some human factor as well, right, involved. Landlord has to like actively but not automatically accept the request, I understand, from the tenant, and then upon confirming, tenant can confirm. Okay, and technically the tenant then, how can the tenant move in for this 1 day or 2 days or this other short-term kind of rentals period? Will they need to contact each other and somebody from the landlord will actually open the door, or do you plan to automate this as well?
Yes, so we already working on let's say it's in our final version that there will be kind of QR code, for example, in the PDF file, because we already know, for example, that let's say some kind of truck driver, yes, is not always ready for that he can use his smartphone, he can use some older phone that is not including option, to load any kind of file, graphic file. So we are prepared for the fact that the truck driver will have to print just the paper and show it in the gate of the warehouse, and he's of course some kind of person working there, yes, would be opening the gate for him.
Andrzej, pretty straightforward. I guess we covered like most of it on the front end, basically. Andrzej, yes, great. Just as I said, it's pretty straightforward, clear, and very easy to grasp the business idea itself. What about the pricing model? How do you plan to earn?
Sure. The pricing model. Okay, so it's in that way that we are prepared about the price from, depending on this period of time that someone is renting, it's starting from 30% of the price and going down even to 15%. So it's mostly like in all well-known share economy models, yes, that we already know. And that's all. We are not taking any money for adding your warehouse. Everything is free. We are just working on kind of success fee.
To be paid by what side?
It's included in the price. So, and by the end, as I mentioned before, it's kind of divided, yes, because of the split payment. So I would say that it's kind of paid by the landlord.
Okay, as the receiver of the whole amount of the rental kind of amount. Okay.
Yes, exactly.
Andrzej, thanks. Let's move on to second round, and that's a competitive landscape. Just as we said in the beginning, it's a very hot asset type in real estate. And I guess many players are getting more and more active, already present in this sector, and more companies coming into warehouse and logistics real estate sector as well. Who are your most prominent competitors, you would say? In your specific space, you mentioned Flexi, okay, and then there's also this British company called Stoga, which you probably know as well. You know what struck my mind? I understood that both Flex, and it's spelled FLEXE at the end, right? So both Flex or Flexi and Stoga, they have not started international expansion, from what I know. Why do you think this is so? Why do you think this is so?
Well, I think it's mostly about that it's very easy to concentrate on local market, yes, that you mostly know. So I totally understand that. On the other hand, looking on the Flexi solution, their market is huge. So I'm totally not shocked about that. And there are some, I would say, mainstreams that are working overall in the world. As you can see that they already have shopping malls that are abandoned for many years. So they were looking for that kind of solutions. While in Poland, let's say just because of the pandemic time, yes, just 1 year or 2 years ago, it was still rising market. So we were still building these shopping malls. So I think that's the point that we are in other point, about growth of the market.
Andrzej, let's move on to round 3. And tell me, in the whole history of the company, what major things would you do today differently, knowing what you know now already?
Yes, I would back to our history because we started our project, as I mentioned before, during this hackathon event. And during that time, to kind of finalize our very base option of the project, we managed to cooperate with kind of IT guy that was going to prepare for us the whole platform. We are expecting that it won't be so hard, that in the next few months will prepare for us at least this kind of beta version. Yes, we realized after few months that it's much harder than we were expecting, and we realized on the other hand that he can't reach the final point, this MVP for us. So we had to look for other software houses for some solutions over the market to reach the final version of the product. But on the other hand, I need to agree that it was a good change for us. By that time we were very afraid of that. I would even say that in the same way we were afraid that some other agency could be interested in using our ID, but by the end of the day it's not their profile, so it's very easy to cooperate with them, and they are sending their clients to us that are interested in a short time of renting the space. But yes, going back to this IT problem, because of that situation, which the person that's already working on marketplaces for many years, almost 20 as I remember, so it's a very experienced person. We realized that it could be very easy, to communicate about our needs. We reached the kind of understanding that we were expecting from that person. So it was much easier and faster to finalize the product. Of course, each day right now we are learning about new features or bugs that should be changed, yes, for our website. But right now I need to say that it's a very nice process by the end of the day. But of course, during that time, because it was in the autumn of last year, it was hard time for us because we are stressed. We are looking for, we are checking all the software houses, and yes. What was funny that we reached that person, our kind of interim CTO, just because of I lost the word. Sorry, just yeah. So as I said, by the end of the day, it was quite hard process for us because we were jumping over the software houses. We were comparing all the options, all the languages that they can use. But what's funny, because of the referral, by the end of the day, we found this perfect person for us, which understand our problem.
Andrzej, so I understand you first started with one IT guy, right? The coder. Then you understood that something didn't work out quite well, and so you decided to go into software house selection kind of process. And software house selection, I understand you did not succeed as well, right? You didn't manage to choose the best option as well, right? And that's why then by chance, I understand you were recommended a programmer, a coder that knows exactly what you need, right? Marketplaces and so on. Tell me, would you recommend, in what situations would you recommend software houses for non-technical founders?
Well, I would say that it's really very hard to say because it depends on this software house that you are kind of receiving by the.
Yeah, but you failed to choose the best for you. There is a reason probably behind that, right? So.
Yeah, that's true. Yes, I think it's in that way that we reach the person that very clearly understands our needs. Yes, looking on the other software houses, it was that, of course, that someone was, yes, It was very hard time for us because we were feeling this kind of time that we are losing the time. Yeah, so we are already, let's say, this pivot made us realize that we are already, let's say, are 3 months. 3 months before. So in our whole process, besides the fact that we are extremely fast about growing, but it was a huge gap for us. So later on, when we were choosing the software house, waiting 1 week or 2 weeks for the final offer, or
Okay.
connecting with some kind of programmers, IT, RT project managers, was taking too much time for us. When we reached the correct person, by the end, during 2 meetings, we already know that everything is clear. We are signing the agreement or working on the project from the next day.
Yeah. And so this marketplace technical guy is covering all your technical needs, right? As one person.
Yes.
Amazing. Okay. Let's move on to round 4. And in round 4, we discussed the company, the founding team, the team as a whole, and so on. So I understand the company was founded almost a year ago in May, more or less, 2020. We're now recording this in mid-April 2021. And in your founding team, you have a couple of people. Yourself, Andrzej Rudko, CEO, Albert Lis, COO, Maciej Woźniak.
He's in management board as a general director. Yes.
Yeah. So take it over then. And who else is in your team?
Yes, about the founding team. So we started in that way that from the beginning, as we were cooperating before with Albert, we were the, let's say, very beginning of our founders team. So we started with that project. During this hackathon. Later on, we moved to this pre-acceleration program, huge thing. And that was very precious time for us because we were mostly concentrated on customer development research. And during that research, we were having a lot of interviews with let's say our clients, any kind of our connections that we had before. And yes, during that talks, by the end of each meeting, maybe not each, but many of them, they were asking us if there is an option to invest, to cooperate. So by the end of the July, we found that, as I mentioned before, Maciej was one from those clients that we were asking before, and we decided with Albert that he will be the best person to start with. So we established our company by the mid of August last year, and we already did that together with Maciej. By the same time, he was the investor in our project, the first investor, let's say, in a very pre-seed round. And later on, he started to work with us in a full-time option. He resigned some other contracts and decided to be concentrated only in our project. Yes, and I think that later on we moved to founding for finalizing the platform. And during that process, we were looking mostly for the smart money. But this story, I would say, is going mainly to shareholders. Yes, it's not about the founding team. So our founding team is by these 3 persons. And later on, we were recruiting. We are looking for people that are more experienced even than we are in some kind of areas. In the same way, we decided to recruit Zlatina. Zlatina is a very experienced person in commercial real estate market. There is one of very popular events, let's say MIPIM. It's each year happening in Cannes. And as I know, she was even there, let's say 12 or 13 years ago. So I think that should be the easiest example about her experience. And of course, we moved to building the sales team, customer development team with her. And what's more, right now, of course, we are still recruiting. We are having great person, very experienced in the same way from the marketing side. That is in our team. We already have partners they are responsible for international market, and we have it's kind of cooperation, but we have a great law support legal team.
So Andrzej, yes, how many people are you now in the company? Mm-hmm. How many people are you now in the company altogether? I mean, full-time employees and full-time, active guys as well.
Full-time employees, we are 8. Moving on some kind of cooperation, I think there is, yes, we are close to at least 15
okay, great.
members in our team.
Mm-hmm. And what are your team building plans for 2021? Are there any ongoing recruitment? You could advertise those as well here.
Yes, we are still ongoing with recruitment. We are looking, of course, for spreading the customer development team.
Okay, great. Andrzej, let's move on to round 5, our final, last but not least, of course. And we call this Formula F3, funding for the future. So as far as the history of the funding by now, I understand, so one of the founders also was the angel investor in this sense as well. And so total funding by now is around, you could say, 300,000 euros by now, right? Are you, so you have already your beta product. It's a live product that you need to fill up with offers and intensify the, let's say, turnover and closing deals and so on. Seems like good time. Yeah, seems like good time for trying to find this rocket fuel to boost your further development. What are your plans for the next investment round?
Yes, I think it's a great comparison about that, because as I mentioned before, yes, we are having a great speed about growing. So because of that, right now we are looking for new investors. What we already know, what we learned before, that the best option for us would be private investors.
What do you mean private investors? What do you mean? You mean high net worth individuals, kind of, or like angels?
Yes, kind
and
of
not venture capital.
Business angels. They don't have to be called, as this specific business angel. So what I mean by that, it's not a job profile. Yes, that I'm business angel, but mostly looking backward, yes, for our experience, it's in that way that we are looking for people that are experienced in some kind of specified area. For example, like a PR, like marketing. So in the finance, in the same way. So I already mentioned about each of our shareholders. So yes, that's kind of the smart money that we are looking for. It's hard to say that it's kind of special business angel that is, very close to us, because we want to be, we want to kind of concentrate on the trustful cooperation. So we are looking for the people that are helping us when we are asking them for that. And not in that way that, of course, they are very, let's say, intensively trying to help us from each side. So it's in that way. On the other hand, of course, right now we are checking all the possibilities from the market. So we are looking for investors from I would say even worldwide options, because we are, as I mentioned before, we are talking with a partner from Croatia. We are in the same way during the talks with a very well-known fund from UK. So we are not close to any option. For us, what's most important is to reach a high level of financing. The dream, let's say the dream amount would be for me nowadays something about 6 million euro. Of course, everything is connected, so we will see how it will work, but it would help us to reach the markets that we are aiming now.
Yeah. Okay, just as that, so this is really rocket fuel. So 6 million euro for a seed stage, it's not a trifle, definitely. And yeah. What are you ready to give up in terms of equity in exchange of 6 million euros, or just what is the target valuation post money or pre money?
It's about this. Our valuation each day is changing. Yes, each offer that's set at our platform is changing, but of course I won't be avoiding the answer. So it's about that. Right now, our calculation is showing that it's something about 10 millions about our valuation, and later on, probably, as you know, each transaction would be making it growing up and up and up. So yes, it's about that we don't want, to give too much of our shares, because we want to be ready to, let's say, kind of Series A round. Because this round, for us, that something what we would expect from that would be reaching globally the markets, and by the end of that probably we would be reaching the American market. Yes. Yes, so that's our view, and yes, I would say that everything depends. Yes, because we want to be secured. We don't want to look each day for next round of financing. It's popular thing in startups. Yes, I'm very straight about that. That I don't want to hide the fact that most of the days during the startup history, it's about that you are jumping from one round to another round. And yes, my small dream is about avoiding that. So we would be ready to attack as much markets as we want. So yes, I hope that we will find someone who will believe in our project. We will believe that much that it won't be difficult to invest in our idea, of course, in the terms that both sides would be happy.
Yeah, and I will tell you this as well. The idea, I mean, the concept has been proven already. This flex that we mentioned from the United States is now in a serious C stage, basically, and the total amount of funding is close to 150 million euros by now, by a range of investors, including industry investors, like one of the biggest warehouse owner, right, a landlord, and some other prop tech investment funds and so on. So basically, that's interesting. Okay, what about your ideal plans for the exit for the company? Do you discuss this in the team, or do you have your own plan for exit?
I think that's the thing about our strategy that we already discussed that in the very beginning of our project. So it's in that way that we know that each kind of company that is growing by some reaching some point should be ready to make that exit. So it's not something that would be shocking for us, but on the other hand, we are not aiming in any kind of years. Yes, this could be 3 years, this could be 7 years. We are really believing in that company. So yes, we can reach the stars by the end of the project. So yes, we will see how it will be working on the market. But what I can say that yes, I can feel that it's kind of idea that is very easy. Yes. What I can add that even when there were some kind of moments that we were feeling, losing the faith in our company, even it was working that our idea was how to say that, kind of working on its own. Yes, that still we even didn't have to to make anything to help some kind of investor, yes, to believe in our project. So right now I hope that in the future still this process, our speed won't be going down, but even it will be growing each month.
Yes, great. And this I wish you as well, and not to lose your faith in the company, and grow here in the region at least, and at some point to maybe throw the gauntlet or to challenge those companies that we mentioned already in the UK, US market. Thanks, Andrzej. All the best.
Thank you very much. All the best. See you.
So that's another startup from Central and Eastern Europe that has joined our pre-A club. That's it for now, but there's more to come. Bye-bye.